says new VR support. VR has been around for a few months. I think it came out early in 2016. So Premiere Pro will work with so-called VR files. What's new is the controller for the VR files, and that gives me the opportunity to talk about VR, which is, I think, a cool thing to talk about. Because we've not covered this thing, and because it's fairly narrow, for you to shoot VR, you have to have a whole bucket load of cameras and gear to be able to do it. So it's not a simple task. So I imagine not many people are shooting VR. But if you do shoot VR, then you can know that you can edit your stitched together VR file inside Premiere Pro. And so I want to back up a little bit and show you kind of the workflow for that, how you get to this point where you get a video that looks like this. I mean, you can see if I go over here a little ways, I think you might be able to see the sun on one side there. It depends on which direction the paraglider is going, but there might be the edge of the sun here and the edge of the sun here. This is a 360-degree view here. And this is a 180-degree view here. And so this is basically 7 cameras that have been stitched together. And that's no easy task. So I'm going to back up a little bit here and go to this website. This is the source of that video file, a company called 360RIZE, 360Rise. And they just sell this stuff. These are the things that hold the cameras, and these are all GoPro cameras. They don't sell the GoPros necessarily. They sell the device in which GoPros can go, and I think they also, maybe do it as a package plan as well. But these are these little plastic containers that could hold the GoPros, and they're organized such that you can find the start-stop buttons. You can view the little digital readouts that tell you what format you're recording and that kind of stuff. So they make it so it's really compatible with GoPro cameras. And this is kind of the de facto standard now of Pro 7. What that means is that there are 7 cameras. There are 5 mounted around it like this, and 1 on top and 1 on the bottom. And that way you get a whole 360-degree sphere of files. But the thing is, there are 7 separate video files, and even if you use a remote control, I mean, GoPro has a little remote control clicker that you can do with, I think it's an infrared, and you just press that, and it starts the camera remotely. But the trouble is, starting 7 at once, they don't all start necessarily at the exact same moment. So right off the bat, you know that even if you use a remote controller, you're going to get 7 cameras that don't align. And so the way you typically work with these is that you use what's called a clapboard. And most people don't have clapboards. Those are the things that, you slap them down like that and it has a little time code on it, that kind of thing. Most people don't have those, so you just do this, and you make some noise, and you also see something visual in at least a couple of the cameras. And that provides you an audio cue, and then you can line things up that way. And the thing is, you can't stitch them together inside Premiere Pro, and you can't stitch them together inside After Effects easily. There are manual ways to stitch together these 7 different files into one big video file inside After Effects, but it's no easy thing to do. So there is software out there that allows you to stitch these things together, and you realize that GoPro tends to shoot, and it's not necessarily a straight rectangular shot. It tends to kind of warp around the edges, so you have to kind of compensate for the warps and all those kinds of things. It's really tricky, but there is software out there that handles how you stitch that together. And once you stitch it together, then you export a video, and frequently it's an MP4 video, just like a standard MP4 video. So here's an MP4 video that was shot by that company. I got it off their website. It was a publicly available one, and I'll just briefly show you it when I go to that. Here's the video file right there. If I right-click on the video file, not the sequence, right-click on the video file and go to Properties. I always have a hard time finding Properties. Where are you, Properties? There it is, right there. Under Properties, you'll notice that Premiere Pro recognized that this is a VR file. So that's a good thing. That's step 1 of the new things inside Premiere Pro, so that they recognize VR files now. And the type of projection it's called equirectangular, and this is the de facto standard now for VR. So when you stitch together all these cameras, you create an equirectangular video, and the layout can be monoscopic or stereoscopic. Some sets, like that 7 camera set I showed you, some have many more cameras where there are 2 cameras per angle. And so cameras can be one above the other or side by side. And so those are two kinds of stereoscopic approaches as well. But my goodness, imagine trying to stitch together that many cameras. So most people shoot equal rectangular, monoscopic. And then the issue is how wide is the view? This one's 360 degrees horizontal, meaning all the way around, and 180 degrees vertical, which means if you go all the way around and tip up and down, you will see everything. It's like a sphere. And when it stitches together, the thing that's connecting the camera to whatever you're using, like in this particular case, this paraglider, it stitches together and then tries to remove the pipe or whatever it is that's holding the camera to the paraglider, or the parasail, whatever this is called, a motorized paraglider. So that's what's cool about Premiere Pro now, is that it recognizes VR video. That's really important. Okay, now that it recognizes it, how do you view it here besides seeing this, strange looking piece of video here? You want to see it the way your viewers are going to see it. So the way that works is you go to this little wrench here in Premiere Pro, that's called the settings. You click on settings, and in here, right there is VR video, and you can enable the video like that. And now it's enabled for VR. And notice we have controls now, right here, these little sliders that you go all the way around. 360 degrees around and around. Don't mean to make you dizzy. And you can go up and down, slide left and right. Or pull these little sliders there and go this way as well. What's cool about the little circular one, though, is that you can just wrap it around and go all the way around. So now you can see what your viewers will see. So when they watch this with their VR headset, then as they move around their VR headset, they'll see this. And you can connect the VR headset to Premiere. And in the preferences, you tell it, I've connected this headset, and you say what kind of headset it is, and then you can watch this on a headset while you're working on it if you're that far along. I don't imagine many people are, but I do want to show you this kind of cool stuff. Now on top of this, you can right-click here. You can also access the controls by right-clicking here. And here's VR video again. It's in a different place here, but it's down here now. And it says you can check settings. And the settings allow you to determine how wide you want your monitor view to be. It doesn't change the way the video is ultimately exported, but it changes your view. So I've got it as wide as I can go, like that. And the vertical I can go to 90 degrees, but 60 is more natural, but I can go to 90 as well. 90 is as far up as it can go in reality, but I can make it go higher. And it just changes the way it looks here. And while I was doing controls down here like this, you can also control it with your mouse. And this is another cool new thing. You don't really need these controls down here necessarily. So if you want to hide the controls, that's a new thing, new feature in this new version. You can right-click again, go down to VR, and you can hide the controls. And you can control this way, just with your mouse, like so. So that is I'll play this video here. As it's playing, I can change it as if, this is like the real experience of somebody watching this video with a headset on. This, by the way, is Park City, Utah. If you want to go on a nice skiing trip, that's a great place to go skiing. Used to work in Salt Lake City for a TV station there, KSL TV, so I've been to Park City many times. Great place to go skiing. So that's the look at VR. The one final thing is exporting VR. How do you export it? And Premiere is cool about that too. It now the Adobe Media Encoder now recognizes when you have when you're exporting a VR clip. So to do that, you go to File, Export, Media. When you export a VR clip, you have three choices of format: H.264, H.265, which is also called HEVC, and QuickTime. So if you choose any one of those three, I'll choose H.264. Then when you look at the video side of things here, you scroll down to the bottom. It'll, by default, say that the video is VR. It recognizes that you have a VR video here. And what that does, when you export it, it adds a VR tag to the video, such that if you upload this to YouTube or Facebook, those are two sites I know of that recognize VR video, then the playback will then know it's VR, such that the viewers can then move around the screen just within Facebook or YouTube, which is really cool. It also notices the frame layout there is monoscopic as opposed to stereoscopic, over, under, side by side, as I mentioned. So it recognizes your video as to what it is, and then when you export it, it will export it with that tag in it, such that when you upload it, it works as VR. Thank you for watching this video.
My name is Jeff Sangstack, an Adobe certified expert and the lead instructor here at Bluefx.net. If you want to watch this entire video lesson as well as other live classes and After Effects crash courses, then I invite you to check out the Bluefx After Effects Academy. Just click the link below this video to find out what we've prepared for you in the After Effects Academy.